This is In Your Right Mind with Dr. Tonmoy Sharma. I'm Bree Schulten, and we're here with Dr. Blanca Cervantes.
It's great to have you back.
Great to be back.
It's becoming a bad habit. Happy you're on the show, but you're so interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. We wanted to talk about sleep because it affects everybody, unlike depression to me. I think most people have experienced sadness, but not depression. But sleep problems seem to affect everybody at one point or the other in their lives. What is sleep?
It's a profound question.
I am profound.
So sleep is a basic physiological function that we need in order to just live normal lives. Just goes along with eating and all the other things that we need to do. So if you don't get a proper amount of sleep, it can impair not just your ability to focus and concentrate. It can make you tired, but it can cause mood dysregulation. You can become irritable. You can become more anxious. You can become depressed.
Okay, we come to the effects of lack of sleep, if you like, or other disorders having an effect on sleep. But there are different variations on advice, from you need X amount of hours to Y amount of hours, and people like Margaret Thatcher, I'm told, could survive with 4 hours of sleep, and she was the Iron Lady.
Yes.
So for people that are not Iron Ladies,
well, and that gets into a very esoteric part of sleep, is that, and I'm just going to briefly bring it up. In 2013, they discovered something called the glymphatic system. And the glymphatic system is like the lymphatic system, but it runs through the brain specifically. And it is thought to be responsible for basically being the trash chute or the plumbing system that empties out the brain of the toxins that accumulate during the day. So, for instance, all of the things that you metabolize in those brain cells, at the end of the day, you have a pile of things that you need to get rid of. During sleep is when that glymphatic system opens up, and it is thought that the actual brain cells shrink a little bit to give room for that glymphatic system to open up.
So your brain is shrinking at night?
It does.
Oh my God. I don't know when that happens. I can never find the restroom.
And that's when there's all this room to get all of the, the toxins and metabolites out. So, this is why it's a little bit esoteric, meaning that it's not well understood, and we're kind of guessing, but people like Margaret Thatcher may have a very efficient glymphatic system. So in her case, it's possible that she's completing this process very efficiently, very quickly, and she doesn't need that much sleep. And then there's going to be other people who actually need a longer period of sleep to complete that process. Now, that being said, the average person requires 7 to 8 hours of sleep in order to get the adequate amount of rest, not just for brain function, but also for, your organs to be restored, for your body to realign itself. Hormonally, if you don't get enough sleep, you can have hormonal dysregulation. So I would say that then there are stages of sleep.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, there's stage 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in between you have REM sleep. Now,
I don't think the leap could know. They might think
they've heard the term. There's a band called
that I was referring to the band rather.
Yeah.
But those people that are not familiar with it, why didn't you tell us what REM sleep is?
So basically, it's the phase of sleep during which there is rapid eye movement. And that is also when you are in a dream state, when you're dreaming. Now, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, that during REM sleep is when a lot of things are happening in the brain, especially things like long-term potentiation. That's a term that we use for when you take the day's memories and you consolidate them and you keep them in you so that you can remember them for the long term. So that is why it's so important to get good sleep or adequate sleep.
And that's the REM
And
stage?
basically, you have to go through the 4 stages of sleep to get REM. And as the night progresses, those 4 stages of sleep get shorter and REM sleep gets longer.
So do you need a certain amount of REM sleep during the night to have a healthy amount of sleep?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Do we have a quantity, a number of hours,
Well,
or minutes?
again, I unfortunately am not a sleep specialist, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if a sleep specialist would know that. But what I can tell you is that, given that Margaret Thatcher only needed the 4 that seem to function really well,
Right.
I'm assuming that the number can vary. So some people only need a certain amount of REM sleep, and others need another, different number of REM sleeps.
Sometimes we can remember our dreams, and sometimes we can't.
Right.
What is the reason?
And again, I don't have, a scientific paper I can cite to,
Let's sing one.
but I think the reason why is because sometimes we will actually wake up during a dream or during REM sleep. And when you wake up right in the middle of that dream, you're much more likely to remember.
Sometimes when I have a dream and I wake up, I feel back into the same dream.
Yeah.
Once I fall back asleep.
That's possible. I've heard of people doing that.
Yeah.
And then you have recurring dreams, which is a whole other phenomenon.
Dreams are a whole other topic.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a great...
Well, let's let's do it. At basic dreams now.
We're like squirrel.
I know.
Sorry.
Dream. What causes dreams? What the topic of dreams? How is that determined? Do we know?
That's a very good question. I don't think we have a good response to that. What I can say, though, is that the kinds of dreams you might have that night have a lot to do with, whether you're stressed, whether you've had a very, a day that's produced a lot of anger, or a day that's produced a lot of joy and playfulness, and has been intellectually stimulating. So, I know that personally speaking, I've had nights where I've had multiple dreams where they're uplifting and optimistic. And I remember I was able to fly, and then I think I was some kind of a bird, and then I flew into clear water, and I was able to swim. So that was a fascinating dream.
You still remember it.
Yes. So I was, whereas I've had other dreams where, clearly I must have been very stressed that day, I presume, because, it was like the water was murky. I felt stuck. It was very, it was depressing and things like that. So, but the psychoanalysis of dreams was a very big topic and a fascination of Sigmund Freud and
Right.
Carl Jung as well.
Yeah.
Jung, and so he took it in a different direction, though he discussed it more in terms of the collective unconscious.
Right. So it's not clear to our audience, I think, what they need to do to have an erotic dream.
That's right. Yeah, watch. What's it?
It's
We're trying to learn something.
clear as daylight.
Magic Mike, right?
What you need to do, they can be smiling most nights.
Yeah. No, there are people who actually they practice lucid dreaming. There are people who can actually, who can control their decisions, and they're actually actively conscious that they're in a dream state. So that's fascinating because they say you can work yourself up to that.
Right. And then in the REM state, you're almost paralyzed, aren't you?
Well, yes, and in fact, there is a sleep disorder where the people who are not paralyzed during that REM sleep can actually act out the motor movements that they're having in that period. Not just sleepwalking, but there have been people who complain about their partner punching them at night because they were having a fight in their dream and they punched and then they ended up accidentally punching their bedmate. So
Rather have erotic.
certainly that would be
Yes.
much more appreciated.
I mean, the partner was like, I was sleeping on your own. Okay, so REM sleep. We talk about paralysis, but it's a temporary state where the body is kind of very loose and you're unable to move your limbs
Correct.
in that time.
Right. And so as a result, but the eyes, on the other hand, are very active, and that's why it's called rapid eye movement. And you can tell when somebody's dreaming if you look closely because, their eyelids are closed, but their eyes, the balls within inside there as they're moving. So, what are some things that can disrupt REM sleep?
Well, let's discuss that in the next segment. It is.
This is In Your Right Mind with Dr. Tonmoy Sharma. We'll be right back.